Hello! Hi guys, it's Noelle Michaels, and welcome to the beginning of Noelle Chat Survivor Updates. And I don't think there's spoilers in this. I think there's just updates. So that's what we'll have then. We'll have updates. All right, this video super special subscriber is Patchter. Patchter is one of my newest subscribers. Thank you so much for subscribing. I really appreciate it. Okay, guys, I made a chart. Are you surprised? You shouldn't be. Okay, here we go. All right, let's get it where you can read it. Here we are. This time, Survivors has a theme of David and Goliath. And so they picked people who have been not so strong, who have had some adversity, had gotten through it, didn't have a lot of support in their lives, or other reasons here. And they made them the David tribe. These are all the Davids here on this side. On the other hand, there's people who have had lots of support in their life, very strong, very large, great jobs and things, and those are the Goliaths on that side. Now you would think that it would be very uneven, but it's very interesting the way that the Survivor, they're doing it this year. What they say is the Davids will have certain strengths that may not be evident. It could be brains, it could be a talent, something like that, something you just wouldn't expect. It could even be a little bit of physical strength as well. And so there were certain things that they could win that the Goliaths could not. And one of the first things they did was they had the Goliaths pick the two weakest of the Davids, just from looking at them. So they picked Larissa, and they picked Christian. And then the Goliaths could pick the strongest of their own. And they picked John and Allison. And these couples were to do a challenge. However, they let the Davids now pick which activities they would do versus which activities the Goliaths would do. And the physical activities seemed a little easier or harder, and they picked the ones they wanted. There was 2. And then at the last part, there was a puzzle. And the Davids picked that they would do a sliding puzzle where they slide pieces of wood and have to pull one out through the end. The Goliaths got stuck with a cube puzzle, which is all those weird shaped things that you put together that end up making a nice smooth cube. And lo and behold, the Davids won that. And at the end, they had to let go of a rope that had pieces of wood that they could make their shelter with. So they had an advantage of having these nice pieces of wood for their shelter. Okay, that's how it started out. Now, there also was, of course, an immunity challenge. Which one was going to get rid of one of their members? Those immunity challenges, they could be rough. Well, what they had to do, first of all, was they had to have one of their team dig in the sand under a big log and get the body through there. Once they got their body through there, then only one of them, this team or that team, not both, there was only one machete. Whoever got through first grabbed the machete and chopped a rope which dropped some ladders. The one who finally got through, it was the Davids. They were behind. When he finally got through, it was Cole. Yeah. He didn't have a machete. He had to untie the rope to make the ladders fall. And once the ladders fall, then your group can go climb up the ladders, get on a platform, swing across a platform to another platform, yeah, and then get to the end, right? Yeah. And the Davids, they were behind and they lost. It was so sad. They had to get rid of one of their members. So they got in their boats and they got going back to camp to think about who they're going to vote out. And if you look at the Davids here, there's this one guy, Nick, right? He's pretty lazy. He's an attorney, actually. And Carl has said he didn't like Nick. And other people saw that Nick was being lazy, not helping with building shelter, nothing. Well, guess what? On the way home in their boat, it was going along, and boom! And they heard something crack. And it was not the boat. It was this guy, Pat, who was very useful, even though he told some rude jokes that nobody really liked. It wasn't PC at all. Woo! His back got hurt so badly that they had to pull him from the game. So I'll tell you right now, we're going to have to give him an X because he's out. All right. Sorry, Pat. You've been eliminated. Yep, they've been eliminated. Meanwhile, the Goliaths have the trophy, the idol. It didn't really look exactly like that, but kind of like that. It's like an idol with a kind of a face on it, right? And they also got a flint for fire. So they could make a nice fire because it's been raining, guys, wet and cold. They're all wet and cold. They're all miserable, really. Part of the activity too, they were wet. But they waited for a little bit more sun to give the idol. They didn't do that in the rain. So now, Pat is gone. Davids have one less than the Goliaths. And I'll just explain to you a few of these little purple things I have there. Right? This is when they showed who was chatting with who and who was trying to make alliances already. Little people making alliances. And as you see, some of them have just one other person. Like Carl and Davy. They decided to be buddies. And Jessica, I don't know if you say bye or be. I'm not sure how to pronounce that. I'm going to have to study on that. And then look what happens here. Larissa and Elizabeth, and then Nick goes and talks to Elizabeth. So Elizabeth's got two connections here. Nick doesn't know about that connection, of course. And Nick reached out to two people, and Christian made a connection with Nick and with Gabby. So there's a lot of intertwining going on. They didn't show as much of that with the Goliath, so some people I don't see the connection yet. Now, Dan and Kara are very interesting because they actually are attracted to each other. So, of course, I'm going to give them a little heart. Yeah, they're attracted to each other. She used to be a cheerleader. NFL cheerleader. Go, go, go. Yeah. And I believe he is the one that is the SWAT guy. The police officer that used to weigh a lot of heavier and did a lot of work on himself. Yeah. And I'm putting him with Natalia because he and Kara and Natalia were looking for an idol, and Dan found it. And Dan, I don't know why, he told them he found it. I mean, they were close by, but still, I don't think that was a good move. But we will give Dan an idol. It looked to me more like a necklace of a few shells or something. But he's saying it's an idol, and I think there was a paper there that said it was an idol. So onto the rock. Under the rock, it was tied around. Yeah. So Dan has the idol, and he and Kara and Natalia were all hugging. But he did say it was Kara, and Kara said to him that they're attracted to. Now, Natalia does not like Natalie. See, Natalie's down here. She's the older CEU woman, very strict. And she just was bossy at people and was not really helping with making the shelter. She was just being bossy. Yeah. A bossy do-nothing. That's what I put. She's a bossy do-nothing. Natalia, that rubbed her the wrong way. Because it turns out Natalia is some sort of engineer. And Natalie was trying to tell Natalia how to put together the structure because Natalie just wanted a small structure that would be done in time. Natalia was thinking big structure, and of course it wasn't done in time, and they slept in the rain. Oh boy. Now John, he's a wrestler. Yeah. Jeremy, I believe, is an attorney. And I think Alec is the bartender. Yeah, the cute bartender. Mike is very interesting. Mike here, he's a writer, and he was actually, I believe, on The Amazing Race. And somebody recognized him. So, you know, on these shows, they don't like it when you have money already. They're like, you got money already. You got fame, you got money. What are you doing here trying to take my trends away, right? So, I don't see Mike being around too long. Natalie either, because she's just like dead weight at this point. On the other side, although Nick was being lazy, he got saved because Pat went home early. He did open up a little bit when they were all huddling in the makeshift, structure. When it was raining, they were all cold and huddling together, and everybody was telling their story except for Nick. He couldn't open up till almost the morning, and then he did, and they felt sorry for him with his sob story too. Yeah, his mom was hooked on drugs, I guess, and she overdosed and died like 3 years ago, and it's really got to him. It's really, but he never talked about it outside his family. And this first time he did, so that brought them a little bit closer. Well, I think I've told you all for now. If I have more updates, I will put it up. But that's how we started. So far, Pat is gone. And I will look for more connections between people, because that's when you're going to see the strength in the alliances, right? Got to have a good buddy there. Have your back. All right, guys. This is Noelle Michaels saying goodbye. Thanks again to Patchster for being a super special subscriber for the first Noelle Chat Survivor video. Take care, guys. See you soon.